So on the topic of beliefs create reality, and the belief that you're bad causing you to manifest forms of punishing yourself, which I've been talking about here recently, I wanted to talk about one of the beliefs that I think crop up and get entertained right along, it goes right with this. I've certainly had this myself, which is how I can speak to it, but I don't think I'm alone in that. And this is, for someone who has an ongoing problem that they can't seem to solve, or an ongoing pursuit or desire that they can't seem to get. Just, it's just constantly eluding you. I think one of the things that it can be easy to think is that it's karma or it's penance. It's your cross to bear. I'm cursed. I've talked about this before. The idea that maybe it's not you that is doing something wrong. Like you're not thinking correctly, or you're not taking the right actions to get the thing you want, but that it's actually some higher thing that's out of your control, where this is just something that you have to pay for a sin committed in a past life, or there's a punishing God who has decided that you don't get to have it. Which of course, this makes sense to experience this, because if you're trying to solve your problem, running through all the possible reasons why you're not getting it is smart. So a smart person is probably going to have thought of it this way. Like, is this one of the possible reasons? And I want to address that, because it doesn't really make sense that it would be that. At least not anymore. Not at this point. Because let's just say that in your past life, you were a rich person. You didn't care about all the plebes and the serfs, and allowed them to live in poverty without being charitable, and you were greedy, whatever. So now you're in this life experiencing the repeated disappointment and frustration and horror of living in poverty. You can't seem to get out of it. And so you're thinking, well, maybe I'm just in this life now to pay for that, or to experience it. If you take a more holy approach to it, well, I'm just experiencing the other side so that I can balance out and learn the lesson. That's not why you're not getting the thing you want, okay? Because if that is the case, if you came here, if you reincarnated to experience this, you are the one that decided that you needed to do that. Not a punishing God. You're the one that decided that on some level or another. And you have suffered enough. You're here. You've experienced it. You've experienced it. Mission accomplished. You've suffered. You've seen it from the other side. You've experienced it fully. You've tried to get out of it without being successful. You've experienced all of that. What benefit is there? What benefit could there possibly be in you continuing to experience this? What benefit could there possibly be? It's time to move forward now. You've paid your penance. You've suffered enough, right? You can decide that. Maybe you don't feel you have. Maybe you really feel like you're bad and you need to be punished. And maybe you feel like in this life you've been bad and you need to be punished. Just as long as you realize that you're punishing yourself. It's you operating it. You're the operant power here, as they say. Don't get me started. So that doesn't make any sense. That's not the reason why. Maybe you've been punishing yourself up until now, but you can stop doing that. You can decide right now that you've punished yourself enough. You've suffered enough. You've paid your penance. You understand now what it's like to be without love, without caring about yourself, without money, without security. You have experienced it. You have suffered, and now you can move on, because you don't have what you need from this mental place to be of value to the world if you're in that state of mind. where you will be useful, where you will be best able to right that wrong. By say you've done something bad in this life. You believe maybe you did something bad in another life. Where you will best be able to right that wrong is by making the most of everything, by developing, having money, having health, having love, being in a state of love, being loving and patient and kind and peaceful and all of that. That's the place from which you can then start to actually do the most that you could. It doesn't make any sense that you would need to be lacking one of those things in order to right some wrong from the past. Isn't the best way to right a wrong from the past to do good now, here? It doesn't make any sense. You're not cursed. This isn't your cross to bear. Maybe it's been your cross to bear up until right this minute, but it's not anymore. And this is one of those beliefs that once you entertain it briefly, it becomes one of the possibilities, because how could we possibly know, right? Maybe that is it. It gets in there. And what it does, I think, just that not having been completely removed, that idea, what that does is it saps a little bit of the energy that you have to right this wrong. It saps, it's just in there kind of, it's like a constant energy suck. It's like some bullshit aftermarket part that you put on your car that has is drawing power when the car is off and draining the battery even when, the car's not even in use. That's what a little belief like that in there that has not been just completely removed, reasoned away, that's what that will do. It's not that. Okay, the only reason that you don't have the thing you want is because your thinking has not developed and rearranged itself to the point that that thing is able to be there. In order for you to get something, you're thinking about it has to be a certain way. It has to be able to be there. I don't know how else to explain this. Think about something you do have in your life and try to imagine you're thinking about it being completely different. Would it still be there? If you have a good relationship or you have like a talent that you've developed or something like that, if you're thinking about that was totally different. If you're in your good relationship, you were constantly thinking relationships are horrible. I'm never, there's no way that this is for real. Something bad's going to happen. If you're constantly thinking stuff like that, would it be able to be there? If you were constantly thinking that you were actually just a hack and you don't actually have any talent or whatever, would you actually have ever been able to develop this talent that you have? Something like that. I mean, compare it to your own life. You can see how this works. It's a law. It's just a way something works that you can count on, which is comforting. It means everything works that way, and it means everything can be figured out. It means there are no curses. It means it's just user error. And when you figure out what you're doing wrong, it will right itself. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. The I'm cursed takes many forms, and I'm cursed is just another one of the many ways that the core misunderstanding that there's something wrong with you and that you must pay for that. It's one of the many ways that comes out. And you can go through most, if not all of your life feeling that way, thinking that about yourself, having success in the world at many things, but never really being fulfilled by any of them. This core thing it's like if that thing is still in a state of error, you're not experiencing anything in your life the way you could be and should be. So have a great day.